الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وأصلي وأسلم على رسوله النبي الكريم وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنما المؤمنون الذين إذا ذكر الله وجلت قلوبهم وإذا تليت عليهم آياته زادتهم إيمانا وعلى ربهم يتوكلون الذين يقيمون الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون أولئك هم المؤمنون حقا. وقال الله عز وجل الذين إن مكناهم في الأرض أقاموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة وأمروا بالمعروف ونهوا عن المنكر ولله عاقبة الأمور. وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إني أتخوف ما أخاف على أمتي طول الهوى وطول الأمل، فأما الهوى فيسد عن الحق وأما طول الأمل فينسي الآخرة. ارتحلت الدنيا وارتحلت الآخرة ولكل واحد منهما بنون فكونوا من أبناء الدنيا ولا تكونوا من فكونوا من أبناء الآخرة ولا تكونوا من أبناء الدنيا، أو كما قال صلى الله عليه وسلم. Respected brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I begin in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, praising in regards to the bounties and ni'mat that He has given us. Salutations upon His chosen one, Muhammad, peace be upon him, his companion, his family members, and those who follow the footsteps of Sahaba and Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam until the day of resurrection. Secondly, as the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, "Man lam yashkur al-nas lam yashkur Allah." The person who does not thank people, he is not able to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, acknowledging of the bounty that Allah has given him. So the thank goes to the organization, Imam Latif al-Rahman, who invited me to speak in this auspicious occasion, and on a very important topic that is needed in our daily life. It's to know who we are, protecting your identity and knowing the identity that Allah has given us. One is the identity that is written on your ID card. Your name, date of birth, how old are you, what gender you are, what's your height, what's your weight. That's the identity that all of us know and we carry along with us. And one is the identity that Allah has given us. Now, having that ID card doesn't make you different from anyone else in the world. Having that ID card does not give you any status. No matter you are a biggest doctor, but still your ID card won't say Dr. Saab. It won't say brother engineer. It will just give your name. So those status, those alqab, those titles that we have connected with our names, they don't matter into the real world. At the end of the day, the person who is the billionaire, his passport is the same. And the person who is barely having any food to eat, his passport is the same. A person who is a billionaire, his ID card is the same. And the person who has no food, his ID card is the same also. That doesn't make a difference. But the identity that Allah has given us, and which is the source of our protection into the real world that we live in today. One of the dilemma that we find ourselves in today is that every individual is content with his own so-called religious affairs. And every individual is comparing his religious aspect to the person who is not religious. And that brings the superiority of yourself and inferiority of the other person immediately into your mind, so you start thinking you're the best guy on the earth and the rest of the people are just fools. But unfortunately, in reality, you are fooling yourself and you're the biggest fool and everyone else is smart. In the legacy of Tabi'een, those who had the opportunity and the blessings of meeting the companions of the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, one of the greatest Tabi'i that was found by the name of Rabi'i bin Khaytham rahimahullah. Rabi'i bin Khaytham rahimahullah, لما ذهب writes in Siyar wa Alam al-Nubala, كان قليل الرواية وكبير الشان. He narrated very less, but his attributes and qualities were amazing. He is that same individual that found the company of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu. And it's enough to say, in the accolade of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu, Allama Nawawi rahmatullah alayhi writes in Al-Taqrib with the authority of Imam Masruq rahimahullah, which is the known Imam of the narrations of Tafasir. قال مسروق. Imam Nawawi rahmatullah alayhi writes with the authority of Imam Masruq that انتهى علم المدينة إلى ستة, that the whole knowledge of the city of Medina, which came out from the chest of Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam and through the revelation of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and was distributed into the people of Medina and the Sahaba, if you were to confine and bring it to a narrowing position, the whole knowledge of deen would be confined into 6 Sahaba. ثم انتهى علم الستة إلى 2 وهو علي بن أبي طالب وعبد الله بن مسعود. And then the knowledge of these 6, if you were to confine it and narrow it down, it will come to 2 Sahaba, and that is Abdullah ibn Mas'ud and Ali bin Abi Talib radiallahu anhu. هكذا ما قال النووي رحمه الله برواية مسروق في التقريب. So anyhow, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, Rasul said, خُذِ الْقُرْآنَ مِنْ أَرْبَعَ. If you want to learn Quran, know the understanding of the Quran, recitation of the Quran, take it from 4 people. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, Salim Mawla Hudayfa, Ubay ibn Ka'ab, and Mu'adh ibn Jabal radiallahu anhu. خُذِ الْقُرْآنَ مِنْ أَرْبَعَ. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, Mu'adh ibn Jabal, Salim Mawla Hudayfa, and Ubay ibn Ka'ab radiallahu anhu. So Abdullah ibn Mas'ud was a great knowledgeable individual. He had great understanding of deen. He had great understanding of the Quran. ما فهم القرآن إلا ابن مسعود. Rasul said that the person who have understood the reality of Quran is Ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu. So there are many ahadith and the sayings of the Prophet in regards to the attribute and the qualities of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu. However, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu, when he looked at Rabi' bin Khaytham rahimahullah, he said to him, مَا رَأَيْتُكَ قَدْتُ إِلَّا ذَكَرْتُ الْمُخْتَبِينَ وَلَوْ رَآكَ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ لَأَحَبَّكَ. That whenever I look at you, I remember the devoted worshippers, and if the Prophet had seen you, he would have loved you. If the Prophet ﷺ would have seen you, he would have loved you due to your greatness, due to your caliber, due to your dedication, due to your ibadah, due to your submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and whatnot. So Rabi' bin Khaytham rahimahullah, one of his students, he was in his company for 20 years. And after 20 years, he decided to depart. Because unfortunately today the world has become to an extent that we only like to hear new things. If the speech is taking place and a hadith that is being quoted, we've already heard it, this is boring. Change the channel. Change the channel. It's boring. We've already seen the movie. Entertainment. Deen has become entertainment. Like you sit in front of the TV and you're switching through the channels, and you come to a channel where this movie's been watched, you switch to the next channel. Or this is also a boring movie, switch to the next channel. So as we entertain ourselves sitting in front of the TV, when it comes to the matters of religion, and when it comes to the matters of understanding, and when it comes to the matters of learning, we've already known it's an entertainment, so people just come for entertaining. So when we make the learning process as an entertainment, then we only look for entertainment. We don't look for spirituality. We don't look for changes. The day you walk in from the masjid, and then after the program is finished, you walk out in the masjid, you're the same guy. There is no change inside you. Why? Because you've come for entertainment. And may Allah forgive us for this. Because we haven't understood. مَا عَبَدْنَاكَ حَقَّ عِبَادَتِكَ وَمَا عَرَفْنَاكَ حَقَّ مَعْرِفَتِكَ. Allah, we did not learn, we did not recognize you the way you were supposed to be recognized, neither we worship you the way you're supposed to be worshipped. And that's our reality. So anyhow, this student, for 20 years he's in this service. Every day he is learning from him. And after 20 years he had to depart. You know, back in those days, people used to give life. Imam Abu Yusuf Qadi al-Qudat, rahimahullah, he stayed in the company of Imam Abu Hanifa, rahmatullah alayh, for 25 years. And after learning for 25 years in the company of Imam Abu Hanifa, he started his own dars, he started his own program. And when Imam Abu Hanifa found out, he started his own program. He says, تَذَبَّبَ قَبْلَ إِنْصِرَامٍ تَذَبَّبَ قَبْلَ إِنْصِرَامٍ. The grape has riped and changed into raisins before its time. You have a grape, and then after that it becomes ripe, and then eventually it changes into a stage of raisins. So Abu Hanifa says it has changed to a raisin before its time. 25 years of services. And who was Qadi al-Qudat? Imam Abu Yusuf rahmatullah alayhi says that from the time I get into the gathering of Abu Hanifa, from morning till evening, I will not leave and I will not miss a single lesson. The day he got married, he never missed his class. The day his son died, he never missed a class. The day his mother died, never missed a class. He's never missed a class. Every single day he's there, no matter rain or shine. No matter it's snowing outside, whatever condition it might be, he has never missed a class. So, Imam Abu Yusuf rahmatullah alayhi, after staying 25 years, he went and started giving his own lectures. So when Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi said this, he wrote a question. He said, take it to Qadi al-Qudat. He said, take it to Abu Yusuf. And if he says answer is yes, tell him he's wrong. And if he says answer is no, tell him he's wrong. And it was a question, it was a jurisprudence question, that if a person lends, he gives his clothing to a person to a place to get it washed, to a dry cleaner. And then eventually that dry cleaner intends to keep the clothing to himself. And then later on, the shop gets burned down. Does he have to give the amount of that clothing that he has given to dry clean or not? That's the question. Go and ask from Abu Yusuf. And if he says he has to give it, tell him it's wrong answer. And if he says he doesn't have to give it, tell him it's still a wrong answer. He has to give the clothing back. If he says yes, tell him it's wrong. If he says no, tell him it's wrong. So he went with the question, he told him. And then I'm not going to go to the detail because it requires a lot fiqh and jurisprudence terminology, etc. I'm just giving you an example from this. So Imam Yusuf rahmatullah alayhi immediately understood. He said, who sent you? He said, your teacher, Abu Hanifa. He said, that's it. Close down. فَلَازَمْتُهُ 40 سَنَةً. After that, he stayed in his company for 40 more years. For 40 more years, he stayed his students. That's why he became Qadi al-Qudat. I mean, it's not cheap. That today, you only give a few hours and you ended up being a sheikh. Person goes and he gets some research done on the internet, gives a few years here and there, and he expects to become a sheikh. That's not work. It doesn't work like that. It's a dedication of life. العلم للرحمن جل جلاله وسواه في غمراته يتجلجل ما للتراب وللعلوم وإنما يعلم أنه لا يعلم. It says the ilm belongs to Allah Azza wa Jalla. No matter how much you do, it's always less. So anyhow, he said to him, I served you, I was in your khidmah for 20 years. ما رأيت أن تعتاب أحد. I never seen you criticizing anyone. The student of Rabi' bin Khaytham says to his teacher that I stayed with you for 20 years. ما رأيت أن تعتاب أحد. I never seen you criticizing anyone. Is the people so good or you're so oblivious that you don't know what's going on in the world? What's the matter? What's the missing portion in the equation? Are the people so good that you don't need, there is no wrong inside them? Or you're so oblivious that you don't know what's going on in the world? So Rabi' bin Khaytham rahmatullah alayhi told him, and that's the point that we all need to carry out into our life to understand our own identity, who we are. And that is, he said, I'm so busy in counting my own sins that I don't get time to look at the faults of other people. I'm so busy in counting my own sins and counting my own flaws that I don't get time to go and criticize other people because I'm busy with my own self. And he says that unfortunately the nation has come to that extent that today you fear Allah due to the disobedience of an individual, not your own disobedience. Brother, you don't pray, tomorrow you're going to die, what's going to happen? Indirectly you're saying, I'm prepared for my death, I'm ready to meet Allah. What's going to happen to you? You're going to burn in Jahannam. Brother, you don't fast? Astaghfirullah. How is that possible? You don't fast? You're going to die in this stage? Indirectly saying that I'm already happy with mine. I'm fully 100% halal guy. I'm a good guy. I've got everything sorted out on my side. I'm completely ready to meet Allah with my actions. But you on your side, astaghfirullah, I can't vouch for you. You are involved in haram. So we are so busy in counting our virtues and the bad deeds of other people so that we've forgotten our own identity, who we are. What do we belong to? Imam Bukhari rahmatullah alayhi narrates, and look at the vision of Sahaba, because these are the people that we need in our life. Allah Azza wa Jalla says, الَّذِينَ إِن مَكَّنَّاهُمْ فِي الْأَرْضِ أَقَامُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَآتَوُا الزَّكَاةَ وَأَمَرُوا بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَنَهَوْا عَنِ الْمُنكَرِ وَلِلَّهِ عَاقِبَةُ الْأُمُورِ. This is an ayah of Surah Al-Hajj, and Surah Al-Hajj is a Makki surah. Except for a few ayat of this surah is Madani. However, some Mufassirin had agreed unanimously that this surah is known as Makki and Madani. It's a conversion of both. Migration, some of the ayat revealed before migration and some of the ayat revealed after migration. However, this ayah itself, الَّذِينَ إِن مَكَّنَّاهُمْ فِي الْأَرْضِ, this is a Makki ayah, revealed before the migration of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to Medina. Allah says, الَّذِينَ إِن مَكَّنَّاهُمْ فِي الْأَرْضِ, those who will get authority on earth. What they will do? أقاموا الصلاة, they will establish salah. آتوا الزكاة, they will establish zakah. وأمروا بالمعروف, they will tell people to do good deeds. ونهوا عن المنكر, and they will stop them from evil. وَلِلَّهِ عَاقِبَةُ الْأُمُورِ, and all matters return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Under the commentary of this ayah, Allama Ruh al-Ma'ani, Allama elucidating Ruh al-Ma'ani, that the call of Uthman ibn Affan radiyallahu anhu, قال عثمان ibn Affan radiyallahu anhu, هذا صفة الصحابة بين الله سبحانه وتعالى بلا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned the sifat of Sahaba Ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'een, عطاء قبل البلاء. Allah is granting them the gift before even testing them. Allah says these are those people, if we give them authority on earth, what they will do? They will do this. Imagine, who is this? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah is speaking so confident about these individuals' actions that if they were granted authority on earth, they will change the system. They will bring the obedience of Allah on earth. And in reality, my dear respected brothers and sisters, the change does not come from outside. The change needs to become inside. It needs to come in from the inside of an individual. Understanding your authority that Allah has given you. The first quality Allah gives you is a believer, Iman. Who is mu'mineen? Who are the mu'mineen? إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ إِذَا ذُكِرَ اللَّهُ وَجِلَتْ قُلُوبُهُمْ وَإِذَا تُلِيَتْ عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتُهُ زَادَتْهُمْ إِيمَانًا وَعَلَى رَبِّهِمْ يَتَوَكَّلُونَ. This is the definition of Iman that you and I possess today. Looking at the definition, we should try to see that our Iman fits that definition or it doesn't fit that definition. And if it doesn't fit that definition, then we need to bring into that definition. Because all the promises for those are for those in the Quran who fit the definition, not the one that just give their name. Not the one who are just providing lip services. Not the one who are just claiming to be certain individuals, but in reality they're done, they're finished. Umar ibn Khattab radiyallahu anhu was just sitting with the group of Sahaba during his era, during his Khilafah time. And he addressed the Sahaba and he said, I want you to express, what are your wishes? I want you to express your wishes. Imam Bukhari mentions in Tarikh al-Kabir, its narration, with the authority of Sa'ad ibn Waqas radiallahu anhu. And also, Imam Sa'ad has mentioned in Tabaqat, the same narration. So one day he was sitting with the Sahaba and he said, I want you to express your feelings, what you have, what your desires are. So the first one said, لَوَدِدْتُ أَنَّ هَذَا الْبَيْتَ مَلَأٌ فِي الذَّهَبِ لَأَنْفَقْتُهَا أَوْ لَصَرَّفْتُهَا لِحَوَائِجِ النَّاسِ. That my desire is, if I can be granted gold equivalent to this whole house, filled it with this whole house. Gold filled in this whole house. And my intention is, if I have that, I will give and I will go and fulfill the necessities of humanity. That's my intention, that's my desire. The second individual, Umar radiallahu anhu, mashallah, very good desire. May Allah Azza wa Jal make it happen. May Allah give you the reward of it. Next person. The next person says, I wish the whole house is filled with silver and platinum and other things so I can spend it in front of people. I can do this good cause for humanity. I can do this good cause for humanity. And then Umar radiallahu anhu went into the silence. So those who were in the company asked him, what are your thoughts? What's your outcome? What do you wish, O Umar radiallahu anhu? He said, my wish is, if I can have this whole house filled with 3 individuals, and the qualities of 3 individuals, I will utilize them to bring justice on the face of this earth and take out the nonsense from the earth. If I can have this whole house filled with 3 types of individuals, you clone them, you do whatever with them, but I need these 3 people at all time. and I will send them out as an army into the universe. And these individuals' caliber would be such that their walking will change humanity. So someone said, who are these three individuals? He said, أولا Abu Ubaidah bin Jarrah radiallahu anhu. The first one is Abu Ubaidah. Number two is Mu'adh ibn Jabal radiyallahu anhu. And these are giants of the Sahaba, great Sahaba. Who is Abu Ubaidah? Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, لِكُلِّ أُمَّةٍ أَمِينٌ وَأَمِينُ هَذِهِ الْأُمَّةِ Abu Ubaidah bin Jarrah. For every nation there is a trustworthy individual, an amana, an ameen, who never lies, who never cheats. And you combine all the trustworthy individual of this universe and you put it together, you cannot come to the equivalent of Abu Ubaidah. This is my Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam saying, وَمَا يَنْتِقُ عَنِ الْهَوَىٰ إِنْ هُوَ إِلَّا وَحْيٌ يُوحَىٰ. He doesn't say anything from his own side. It's everything that is revelation revealed to him. وَلِكُلِّ أُمَّةٍ أَمِينٌ وَأَمِينُ هَذِهِ الْأُمَّةِ أَبُو عُبَيْدَةٍ. That every nation there is an ameen, there is a trustworthy individual. For my trust, for my ummah is Abu Ubaidah radiallahu anhu. Such a great caliber, such a great quality. And amanat is something, remember, amanat is something which is to be coming out from the nation, firstly out of his religion. When Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said that the time of the resurrection will come closer, people will start losing. The first thing that you will see inside the people that has come, and that will be the signs of the day of resurrection, is dishonesty. They won't be honest. Dishonesty in the house, dishonesty amongst spouses, dishonesty amongst your workers. Everywhere you see dishonesty is there. Amanat is out. And Allah Azza wa Jal says, successful believers are those. Who are the successful believers? وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِأَمَانَاتِهِمْ وَعَهْدِهِمْ رَاعُونَ. Successful believers are those who are ameen, who are justice, who are trustworthy, who are truth individual. They don't lie. They don't cheat people. May Allah forbid. Today, majority of the families that break out today because of the double standard that we play. Illegitimate relationships. Having wrong relationships with individuals. And that ends up, honesty is the key to success. وَمَا كَانَ لِنَبِيٍّ أَن يَغُلَّ وَمَنْ يَغُلُّ يَأْتِ بِمَا غَلَّ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. Allah says your Nabi is not dishonest. And that person who will be dishonest, he will come with that dishonesty on the day of resurrection. So unfortunately, we have fallen into that category. Our nation, our situation, everything that we see. We can't trust anyone. Don't trust. Everyone says that. Don't trust anyone. In these days, brothers, you can't trust anyone. That's a common statement. And your identity begins with trust. Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, "La imana liman la amanata lahu." There is no iman in a person who doesn't have honesty in his life. So the day you become dishonest, that's the day you lose your iman. La imana liman la amanata lahu. The day you become dishonest, that's the day the iman comes out from you. Your identity was iman, and dishonesty came and took all of your identity away. Once during the time of Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, rahmatullahi alayhi, there was a need to appoint someone as the governor of the city of Basra. This narration Allama Zahabi mentions in the 7th volume in Siyar A'lam al-Nubala. And Allama Ibn Kathir has also mentioned it in Bidayah wa Nihaya. And then other Tariq Tabri and Ibn Khaldun and others have also mentioned this. So anyhow, during the time of Umar ibn Abdul Aziz rahmatullah alayhi, there was a need to appoint someone, the wali and the qadi and the governor of the city of Basra. So Umar ibn Abdul Aziz rahmatullah alayhi called his minister, the one who used to take care of the affairs. His name was Adi bin Al-Tat rahimahullah, a great individual, great tabi'i. So he told Adi bin Al-Tat that I want to appoint someone as a governor of the city of Basra. ما رأيت أحدا في هذا الأمر إلا رجلين. I don't see anyone except for two individuals to be the perfect candidate. إياس بن معاوية وقاسم بن ربيع. When you, in the morning, go and sit these two individuals down and decide the matter and make one of them the governor. So Adi bin Artat says, إذا صليت الفجر, when I finished my Fajr Salah, I went into look for these two individuals, I gathered them, I sat them down and I said, إن أمير المؤمنين أمرني أن أولي قاضي البصرة أحدهما. Allah, Amir al-Mu'mineen has told me to appoint one of you the Qadi of Basra. So now, you decide. Both of them, Iyas ibn Muawiyah and Qasim bin Rabi' said, Qasim said, Inna Iyas al-afdala minni, and Iyas said, Inna Qasim al-afdala minni. I don't want this position, give it to this guy, he deserves it, he is worthy of it, he has the potential, he has the opportunity, he has the capability, he's got everything. The best man you'll find in the city is this guy and none other, take him. Iyas said the same thing for Qasim, that you won't find a better person, don't need to look anywhere else. Iyas, this Qasim is the guy, that's it, take him. None of them want to take that position as to be the governor. Today people have election and fight for that position. And over here, they have been given the position and they don't want to take it. Why? Because every position brings a responsibility. كلكم راع وكلكم مسؤول عن رعيته. Everyone is a responsible. Every position brings a responsibility. You're a mother in the house, you've got responsibility. You're a husband, you've got responsibility. You're a wife, you've got responsibility. You're a brother, you've got responsibility. You're a child, you've got responsibility. Every position has a responsibility. And today, where do we go wrong in the equation? Because every individual wants others to fulfill his or her responsibility. The wife wants the husband should fulfill all my needs. The husband wants the wife to fulfill all the needs. The children want that my parents should fulfill all my needs. The parents say the children should respect me and fulfill all my needs. So everyone, instead of giving or fulfilling their requirements, they are demanding from other people their rights. So when everyone starts saying our rights are not being fulfilled and fulfill it, then who's going to fulfill the rights when everyone's saying the same thing? But those were the good times. Those were the times where you had individuals. You have great people. So anyhow, Qasim bin Rabi' and Iyas ibn Muawiyah arguing in the case that the other one should take the responsibility and not me, because I'm not worthy of it. So Iyas said, let me explain to you that might make the things easier for you. He said, what is it? Adi said, what is it? He said, Sal anni wa an al-Qasim faqihai al-Iraq, Muhammad ibn Sirin wa Hasan al-Basri. Go and ask the two great scholars of our time about myself and about Qasim, then who should be taking this responsibility. And those two great scholars are who? Muhammad ibn Sirin and Hasan al-Basri. Muhammad ibn Sirin rahmatullah alayhi, it is mentioned about him that ما رأيت أحدا أفقه في ورعه ولا أورع في فقهه من محمد ibn Sirin. That I've never seen a person having such a great understanding of jurisprudence coupled with piety, and a person such a pious coupled with understanding of jurisprudence than Muhammad ibn Sirin. I mean, this phrase, if we were to understand it in the actual language, in the Arabic language, you will know the reality of it. مَا رَأَيْتُ أَحَدًا أَفْقَهَ فِي وَرْعِهِ وَلَا أَوْرَعَ فِي فِقْهِهِ مِنْ ibn Sirin. That I've never seen a person who is more greater mufti coupled with the piety, and a person who is the pious to be found coupled with his fatwa, than Muhammad ibn Sirin. And second person is Hasan al-Basri. Who is Hasan al-Basri? إِنَّهُ امْرُؤٌ سَرِيرُهُ كَعَلَانِيَتِهِ قَوْلُهُ كَفَعْلِهِ إِذَا أَمَرَ بِمَعْرُوفٍ كَانَ أَعْمَلَ النَّاسِ بِهِ وَإِذَا نَهَى عَنْ مُنْكَرٍ كَانَ أَتْرَكَ النَّاسِ لَهُ. Who is Hasan al-Basri? He is the person who is one standard individual, not double standard. What is outside, this is what you see inside. What is inside, this is what you see outside. His inside is like outside, and his outside is like inside. Clean individual, no double standards. And his actions elaborate more than his words do. وَقَوْلُهُ كَفَعْلِهِ. His statements are as his actions. Whatever he does, this is what he says, and what he says, he does that. إِذَا أَمَرَ بِمَعْرُوفٍ كَانَ أَعْمَلَ النَّاسِ بِهِ. When he tells people to do something, he is the first one in the line. وَإِذَا نَهَى عَنْ مُنْكَرٍ كَانَ أَتْرَكَ النَّاسِ لَهُ. When he tells people to stop from something or stay away from something, he is the first one out of the line. So he has said, why don't you go and ask these two great individuals? And the reason why he gave that suggestion was, وَكَانَ الْقَاسِمُ يَزُورُونَهُ وَيَزُورَانِهِ. Al-Qasim had a great connection with both of these scholars. Whereas Iyas didn't have that great connection. He said they already know Qasim, they will just give the name of Qasim and I'll be out of this position. So Qasim said, no, you don't need to go anywhere and ask. We'll dissolve it right here. You don't need to go and ask anyone. I'll tell you a suggestion. I'll tell you something which will content you and you will be able to finish off the matter. So what is it? He said, I swear by Allah. I swear by Allah. فَإِنَّ إِيَاسًا أَعْلَمُ فِي دِينِهِ وَأَعْلَمُ فِي الْقَضَاءِ مِنِّي. I swear by Allah that Iyas, he is a better person in his religion and he's a better person who knows the matters of governing than me, so he's the best guy for you. Now he swore by Allah. And then Qasim said, now if you consider me a liar, then why do you want to make a person a governor who's a liar? I'm a liar. Don't make him. If you consider me, I'm not saying the truth. And if you consider that I am saying the truth, then of course he's better than me, so why are you going towards inferior when you have the superior found in front of you? You've got someone there who is more superior because you've accepted my statement, and I did qasam. I swear by Allah. So either one of the things you need to accept, either you accept that I'm a liar, or you accept that I'm saying the truth. If you consider me as a liar, then why are you making someone who's a liar as a governor? And if you consider me as a truth individual, then of course he's better than me because this is what I just said. So he's the best shot. So Iyas smiled and he said, I swear by Allah that Qasim has never lied in his life except at this junction. I swear by Allah that Qasim has never lied except at this junction right here. And I have full trust in my brother, and that's the trust that we need. That the moment this gathering finishes, he will repent to Allah. The moment this gathering finishes, he will repent to Allah, knowing your identity. This is what a believer is. A believer is that individual who thinks good for other people. A believer is that individual who always assumes good for other individuals. A believer is that individual who lives the life of honesty. This is what identity Allah has given you and I. But unfortunately, we've lost it a long time ago. And we need to revive it again. So Adi bin Arqad said, you know, he played a smart one, but I understand you are more smart. He said, how? He did qasam, and he did all of that. But you figured out his theory. That what is he doing? The game that he's playing. So since you knew the game that he was playing and you figured it out, I think you're the most suitable, so you're the Wali of Basra and end of deal. Khatam khalas. So when you had these calibers, when you had these individuals, then indeed the world was a better place. But when you have people hunger for different positions, when you have people hungry for power, when you have people hungry for different things, then indeed everyone fights and the blood starting to shed. And this was not the identity in which Rasul left us. So Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu says that I wish I can have the whole room filled with 3 people's qualities, 3 individuals filled with it. First one, Abu Ubaidah bin Jarrah. Second one, Mu'adh ibn Jabal. وَأَعْلَمُهُمْ بِالْحَلَالِ وَالْحَرَامِ مُعَاذُ بْنُ جَبَلٍ. Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said the most learned individual is Mu'adh ibn Jabal. The one who knows the most halal and haram is Mu'adh ibn Jabal of this whole ummah. And when Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was taking Mu'adh ibn Jabal to the outskirts of Medina, to take him to well him off to Yemen. And Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was holding the horse in which Mu'adh was riding. And he said when he got to the outskirts of Medina, the boundaries of Medina, Mu'adh ibn Jabal radiallahu anhu got off the horse to embrace and to hug Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And then Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Ya Mu'adh, asa an talqani ba'da aami hadha. That, oh Mu'adh, next year when you return, you won't find me. فَلَعَلَّكَ تَمُرُّ قَبْرِي وَبِمَسْجِدِي. You will go around my masjid and you will go around my qabr, but I won't be alive. فَبَكَى مُعَاذٌ. Mu'adh radiallahu anhu cried to an extent that he was not able to breathe anymore. Because why? They had true love of the Prophet. They had true love of the Prophet. With every statement there is a reality. With every statement there is a reality. Zayd ibn Haritha radiallahu anhu, Haritha bin Zayd radiallahu anhu, he was sleeping in the masjid. The Prophet ﷺ came. The riwayat of Musannaf Abdul Razzaq, and he woke him up and said, Ya Haritha, kayfa asbahta? Oh Haritha, how did you do your morning? He said, Asbahtu mu'minan haqqa. I woke up in the morning in true iman. He said, وَلِكُلِّ قَوْلٍ حَقِيقَةٌ فَمَا حَقِيقَةُ الْقَوْلِ. Every statement has an evidence. What's the evidence of your statement? That you're a true believer. So Haritha bin Malik radiallahu anhu said, he said, Ya Rasulullah, أَضْمَقْتُ نَهَارِي وَأَسْهَرْتُ لَيَالِي وَإِنَّ فِي أَيَّامٍ وَلَيْلَةٍ فكأني أنظر إلى عرش الرحمن وكأني أنظر إلى أهل الجنة يتغافرون وكأني أنظر إلى أهل النار يتعاقبون. He says, Haritha bin Malik radiallahu anhu says that, O Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the sign of my iman is that I spend my day in fasting and I spend my night in communicating with Allah. And in my day and night, I can visualize the arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in my day and night, I see the people of Jannah visiting each other. And I see the people of hellfire running from each other. The Prophet said, مُؤْمِنٌ نُوِّرَ قَلْبُهُ. He is a believer whose heart been enlightened with iman. So as I said, we need to put that wording into its definition. So Mu'adh radiallahu anhu started to cry to an extent where he could hardly breathe. And Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said to Mu'adh that, "O Mu'adh, inna awla nasi bi yawm al-qiyamah, the people who will be most close to me on the day of resurrection are those who have practiced the deen the most. وَمِنْ كَانُوا وَحَيْثُ كَانُوا. It doesn't matter where they come from or which generation they have come from, as long as they are the most obedient, these are the ones who will be most close to me on the day of resurrection." So that's the criteria, that's the reality, that how much of the practices of deen that we have in our life. Who we are mu'mineen, we are believers, but every statement has an evidence. What's our evidence? Just because I come to a masjid one time a day, I'm showing people that I'm a believer? Or I pray my salah, that's it, and the rest of the life I live according to my own desire? And I'm in this great understanding and assumption that I'm a most pious one because others are not even doing this? That's not the identity Allah has given you. Allah is not going to measure you with the Aisha of outside or with the Abu Bakr of outside. Allah is going to measure you with the Aisha of the Prophet ﷺ and with the Abu Bakr of the time of the Prophet ﷺ. That's our measurement. فَإِنْ آمَنُوا بِمِثْلِ مَا آمَنْتُمْ بِهِ فَقَدْ اهْتَدَوْا. If you bring Iman the way those people brought Iman, then you need guidance. Then you are on a guided path. Otherwise you are not guidance. You're not even close to guidance. Today, unfortunately, our measuring scale have changed. We measure the impiety of other people with our piety. No. We need to compare our piety with the people who have gone in the past. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu said, "Man kana mustannan falyastanna biman qad mat, fa inna al-hayya la tu'minu alayhi al-fitna." That if you want to make someone example, do those who have gone in the past. And these are the great Sahaba. The tabi'een, those who live their life according to the orders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because those who are possessing, those who are living today, they are not perfect. Those people were those who were given great titles from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They were given great authority from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So today, my dear respected brothers and sisters, we all need to comprehend this understanding into our mind. We need to comprehend this, we need to bring it into our mind. That the word believers, mu'mineen, muslimeen, that we title ourselves with, are we fitting the definition or not? إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ إِذَا ذُكِرَ اللَّهُ. Allah says, indeed, believers are those when the ayat, when they have been reminded by Allah, وَجِلَتْ قُلُوبُهُمْ. When they sit in a gathering and they're reminded Allah about Allah, their hearts tremble. Today we made an entertainment. وَإِذَا تُلِيَتْ عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتُ زَادَتْهُمْ إِيمَانًا. When the ayat of Allah has been mentioned in front of them, their iman increases. My iman is the same which I had 50 years ago. No change. We just had a janazah yesterday in our area. And a brother passed away, and we went to meet the janazah, so there was this brother standing who was a close friend. I asked him, how old this brother was. He says, very young. Very young. I said, how old? 59. 59. Very young, like me. 59. I said, MashaAllah. Rasul said, أعمار أمتي بين 60 و70 وقلهما أن تجاوز. That majority of my ummah will live between 60 to 70 years. And there are very few who will exceed that limit. And over here, 59, we still consider ourselves to be young. Brother, you're living in plus time, you're living overtime. After 60, you're living overtime. 60 is the average. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said between 60 and 70. So if you get to 60, and when you get to 61, you're living overtime. And still you consider yourself very young. Meaning I've got another 60 years to go. So I can do whatever I want. Today one janazah happened, another janazah happened. It's just one after another piling up, and there is no change in my life. People are sitting over there now with these. It's become a fashion show. Funeral has become a fashion show. Allahu Akbar, may Allah forbid. That how they are lowering the body and people are taking pictures and cameras and zoom in and zoom out and look at this angle and look at that angle. I mean, over here, you're supposed to remember that today he is 3 feet under the ground. Tomorrow you will be there also. Today someone is being buried. Tomorrow someone will bury you. That's the time that you will remember. Look at the ahadith when the Prophet ﷺ used to take janazah to the graveyard. What was his situation? He would sit down on the side and he would cry. And who is this individual? This individual is that Allah has already granted him success. Allah has already promised him Jannah. وَكَانَ عُثْمَانَ بْنَ عَفَّانَ رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنْهُ إذا مر بمقبر فبكى حتى تبل لحيته. Uthman ibn Affan, when he would go past a graveyard, he would cry so much. He would cry so much that his beard would be soaked by his own tears. Who is Uthman ibn Affan? He is one of the people who Rasulullah said, guaranteed he will be in Jannah. لو كان عندي 10 لزوجت لها عثمان. If I had 10 daughters, I would have wed all of them to Uthman. You know, Mu'arrikhin has write one thing. From the time of Adam alayhi salam until Janabi Rasulullah, until the end of time, there not been a single person who had the honor of wedding 2 daughters of a Nabi except Uthman ibn Affan. Tariq al-Tabri mentions from the time of Adam alayhi salam all the way to the last day of judgment, there not been a single person who had this honor wedding 2 daughters of a prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, any prophet alayhi salam. And this was given to Uthman ibn Affan radiyallahu anhu. And what does he do? What does he do? He goes and he cries when he's passing by the qabr, when he's passing by the maqbarah. He's been granted access of Jannah. And today we are doing that, but we don't care. May Allah take us out from this situation. May Allah Azza wa Jal bring us out from this situation. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the true identity that Allah has blessed us with, and that is the identity of being a believer. The identity of being a believer. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us in this time of tribulation and fitna. And may Allah Azza wa Jal make us amongst those who are successful in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and who have gotten the success before they depart from this world. جزاكم الله خيرا وأحسن الجزاء. سبحان الله وبحمده. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك. ونشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.